Oh, hello, everybody, and welcome to the next edition of Kurt's Kitchen Table Sped Talk. I am here with the Dr. Jill Balzer. She is the principal of Halton Middle School here in Birdsville ISD. If those of you who don't really know Texas area, it's up here in the DFW area. And Jill is a very highly recognized and regarded principal here in Texas. Long history of very high achievement. I believe you're going on, is it your 10th year
Yeah,
or 11th?
going on my 11th.
Okay, going on 11th. And what Jill has been able to do is what very few folks have been able to do in the state of Texas, including yours truly, is she has some data I've asked her to share that is truly amazing, simply amazing. Jill is sitting just under 90% free and reduced lunch, which means 9 out of 10 of her children come with poverty. They live in poverty. And what we know about poverty is that it has an enormous impact generally on academic achievement. Well, Jill is outperforming most schools in the state of Texas who have 20 and 30% free and reduced. So my question to you, Jill, Dr. Balzer, how are you doing this? And walk us through a little bit of your data. Tell us what you're doing.
Well, I think first of all, it starts with campus culture. Everything we do is about whole child development, social, emotional, academic. If our kids aren't feeling safe, they can't learn. So we make sure we have the right teachers in the right seat that care about kids, that care more about them failing than the kids care about failing. So those teachers are important, but they can't just care about the kids. They have to have high expectations. And so it's sometimes hard to find that balance of teachers who have really high expectations and think all kids can truly learn, no matter if you're an ESL student or a special ed student, that all kids can learn. But then also not just fail them all and say, oh, I taught it, they didn't learn it. And so we've been able to create a culture with all of our staff where it's non-negotiable. We don't believe there's any substitutes. It's hard work pays off. And so we have our own saying that we don't love that work smarter, not harder, or whatever that is. We don't even know what that means. We say you're going to work smarter and work harder, because our teachers are the first ones after a summative exam. They get the scores, they analyze the data, they look and see what our kids did well, they didn't, and they don't wait for a star boot camp at the end of the year. They immediately go to a targeted tutorials, mandated, not, oh, I hope you can come. Mm-hmm. They target that out. They target it by standard, so it's not a generic boot camp. They do it on Saturdays, they do it at lunch, they do it before and after school. So those targeted Saturdays, we start those in September. We use title money to help pay for those teachers, so they're not just giving up all their free time, because that's really hard. So we pay them hourly to do that. And I can't mandate it, but when you have that culture that I was talking about, they want to, and they see their peers doing it. And so we're all in this together. They'll share strategies, they'll share teaching techniques with their peers. Collective efficacy is this huge belief I have that it's not only that I'm good, I believe that you're just as good across the classroom, so across the hall. So that's a core belief we have, and that doesn't happen overnight. It's been a journey. If you look at our data, kind of zoom in on it. So 2016, our math first administration was familiar. Two administrations that get more towards your accountability. We were at 58% in the first round, and we saw in 2017 we had a 20-point gain, and then last year another 10-point gain, and there's our gains for all the subjects. But after second administration, we think we'll hit 95, 94% for and that's all students. So that's not a certain demographic, that is kids, all needless to say.
95% with nearly 90%.
Yes.
That is truly unbelievable.
And that team of three, they came in, they started their target back in so we're not talking all the time. They always had lunch groups, and the state of Texas says I could never force anyone to go do lunch tutorials, and I wouldn't, but they volunteer. If their kids don't show up for after school tutorials, they just contact me or my assistant principals, and we go get the student out of their 8th period class 5 minutes before the bell rings, and we walk them to the tutorials, because the peer pressure is huge when the bell rings. Oh, let's just go home. So even if they want to go to tutorials, their buddies are like, no, let's go this, go here. So I think it gives kids an excuse to say, I have to, Dr. Balzer's here making me go. And so we walk them there. So when the bell rings at the end of the day, they're already in their tutorials, they stay, and they do their work. And so, and it's not worksheets, it's not, oh, everyone's just sitting here doing homework, busy work. It is targeted with the teacher, step by step. We also have flip videos that we're into. So my teachers mandated twice a week, they produce flip videos for their students. And so it's 5 to 7 minutes on a concept. That also helps our parents help our kids, because today's like math is really difficult sometimes and parents can't really help. So those videos are there for them to watch. And it also helps for the kids who don't want to raise their hand in class and say, I don't know. They can actually just go back and watch the videos, and kids will tell me, oh yeah, I had to watch that video on, linear equations like 10 times, but the teacher's not saying it 10 times. They're just watching that video again, but it's their teacher. It's not Khan Academy, and that's the mistake I see people making, is finding other people's flip videos and telling the kids, go watch them, like Khan Academy and such. These are their teachers using their language, their personalities, and so it fits better. So we think those are some of the big things that we've done. We also are we're really into advisory, where we do a social emotional twice a week. So we do a lot of team building and make sure it's safe. We're really into mindset, Carol Dweck's work. That was my dissertation, so it's my baby. And so we direct teach what growth and fixed mindset is and is not. Most people don't realize it's linked to, Dweck's work was linked to goal orientation theory, which is mastery goal orientation and performance goal orientation. And so those teachers, there are specific teacher behaviors that are linked to those. So we direct teach to our staff, what are those mastery goal orientations that promote a growth mindset. So our teachers are making sure, for example, when you're evaluating a student, do you just give them the grade that they missed, and it's either all right or all wrong on a multiple choice? No, we're going to give performance points. We're going to give show your work, you get a point for showing your work, if it was the right step. So even if, like in math, you get the wrong answer and you pick D, well, if you've shown your work and we make them show their work, they can get partial credit, which is a mastery performance goal orientation strategy. So kids are like, oh, I'm not just smart or dumb, I'm showing my work. Oh, I just missed this step. That's why I picked D when the right answer might have been B. So we do a lot of things with that, with grading practices as well. So that's really important with our teachers, and I've been fortunate enough I'm able to direct teach that in staff developments or in PLCs. Wow. And of course, professional learning communities, I mean, that's a non-negotiable. Like,
Can you tell me, all right, so this group here, this math group of teachers, can you tell me a little bit about the PLC and what they do to kind of get this kind of performance?
I think the biggest shift we had to make when I got to my school is that people thought PLC was enough time to plan. And it was like, and let's go, you make the copies this week and I'll make them next week. And that's not a PLC. So this group understood that PLC is about asking the right questions with each other, challenging why are we teaching it the way we're teaching it, looking at our data and saying, we taught it, but they didn't learn it. So what new strategy do we need to use? So those conversations are powerful, and they have those conversations, but they also understand then every Wednesday after school, they're meeting outside of the school day for an hour because they have to. This same group of teachers, I didn't even know it. They let me know that over Christmas, they met one day over Christmas. Wow. Outside, they came up here, they did that over spring break, they did it over Christmas, at least one day, because they knew that's what it took. So it's a special group of teachers, and they get to be our model. Like, the whole school knows that's what PLC should look like, sound like.
Well, the one thing I do want to mention relative to Dr. Balzer is that she's given a lot of credit to the teachers, as she should. But I will also tell you, I have some familiarity with Dr. Balzer's career. And this is not the first time that she's been a principal. I had the teachers that went the extra mile and had extraordinary performance. So I can't help but, the research tells us about the impact of principal leadership and building culture. So make no mistake, this is no mistake here at Birdville ISD. And if we can just summarize real quick a couple things. So I heard culture, teacher support, PLCs, and building a culture of collaboration as well as growth mindset under Carol Dweck's work. So that's one component. I also heard super high standards for both students and teachers. I heard mandatory tutoring. And I heard something that I don't hear a lot, true instructional leadership, which is, if you notice, Dr. Balzer referenced how content is taught. She talked about partial credit. She talked about flipped classrooms. She talked about videoing, making that available to the community. That is true instructional leadership. It's not a principal walking around shaking hands. It's a principal who knows instruction, knows the curriculum, knows the standards, supports her teachers, holds very high standards, and ensures they have the resources to be successful. Folks, I'm telling you, I've been doing this a long time. This data does not happen very often, and it doesn't happen by mistake. And let me just ask you, Dr. Balzer, for every single one of our school districts here in Texas who want higher performance, particularly those who might have very high poverty, would you be open to, whether it's an email or maybe a visit, to talk to you about what you're doing and kind of share some of your insights?
Yeah, I'm old now, so it's
No.
it's when you get older in your career, you want to share when you feel like something's working, because it is about kids, and you want every kid to have this experience that I don't care if you've never seen a kid who has never passed, and people can talk about the STAR test, like it, hate it, it is what it is, and we have it. And if you've never seen a kid who has never passed the STAR test in their life and passed that STAR test, and their personal, how they feel about themselves, they're crying. People say, oh, they don't care. No, they cared. They just had that learned helplessness before. And now that they are no longer like, I can do this. And we know it's a gatekeeper for college. Math is what it is. If you're not good at math, I'm just dumb. People think that. And so these kids are saying, I can do anything now. I can do math. And to watch them cry and their teachers crying, and we're all just having this cry fest because it does matter. And we have teachers, these 3 teachers, they're having 40-point gains. I have a girl right now who was, she went from a 33% to a 93% this year, from 7th to 8th grade. And so I'm interviewing her saying, what did we do? Because I think we know what we're doing. And she's talking about, she's using the same things I'm saying. She's like, they didn't let me just get away with not learning. They taught it differently. They made sure I knew it and broke it down. And then I knew they loved me and cared about me. And so I think that's those pieces.
One last thing I want to mention about Dr. Balzer is about her background a little bit. The one thing I know about Dr. Balzer is she had quite a career as a coach and did extremely well. And when I hear, you hear quite a bit about Dr. Balzer and her reputation and performance and in a lot of the things she's done here in the state of Texas. And the one thing I consistently hear over and over is it reminds me of a great coach. High standards, always has the highest expectations, but a great coach really backs you, supports you, gives you a lot of data boys, and I think that's just great leadership. Again, if you have questions about how to do that, reach out to Dr. Balzer. She's a fantastic leader, and Texas, we are grateful to have you, Dr. Balzer.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks. Thank you.
And thanks, everybody, and have a great day.